Hello, CS32 instructor. This is my final turn-in for P-Set 3. Try to make this quick for you guys, but let's go. Hope you can see the code. Okay, so initially what we wanted to do is make a rock, paper, scissors game. But step one is just making it non-networked and against the computer. So we import random. That was discussed in class, given to us. We don't need to explain it. So we define our main function. So what I did is I created a list of rock, paper, and scissors and made the computer use the random function that we got from the random library to randomly choose between rock, paper, or scissors. So that gives in our variable our computer's choice of rock, paper, or scissors. Now we go into our game loop. So in our game loop, I made the player is equal to the input. So the variable player is equal to the input of whatever the player inputs. So it needs input either rock, paper, or scissors. If it doesn't, we have an error checking for that too. But so we have our player choice, we have our computer choice of rock, paper, or scissors, and now we just need to compare them. So in here, there's a bunch of if and elif statements comparing player and computer. And this is just seeing who wins, really. So this is every combination that you can have and tells you whether you win or lose. And I put that into the variable answer. So if answer equals 0, which is player and computer are equal, then it's a tie. If answer equals 1, then player wins. If answer equals 2, then computer wins. In this elif statement, if this is not triggered, then we know that the input is something other than rock, paper, or scissors. So then I printed shape must be rock, paper, or scissors, try again. And since answer equals 5, it'll go back to the top, so you have to redo this step. So it'll just technically make you play again, because you inputted something that was bad. Now, I made another if-elif statement. Another if-elif statement saying that if answer equals 0, then print is a tie, because it's a tie. If answer equals 1, print you win. If answer equals 2, print you lose. So I'll show you how this works here. Pick my shape. We'll pick rock. It's a tie. Do it again. We'll do some random stuff. So that shape must be rock, paper, scissors. Try again. Pick my shape again. Pick another rock. And it's another tie, which is kind of crazy. I'll show you that it actually works so I can get a win here. Please. Okay, I lose. That's good enough. Yeah. So now is on to step 2. Step 2 is a dumb client, smart server. So we network this game now. So in our networking, host import was given to us. It's explained in lecture. We wanted to create a new socket as S from the library, socket 32. And we're connecting to the host and the port of the server. So now we have our player loop. But since it's a dumb client, all we need to do is we import our guests, we send or input our shape, we send our shape to the server, we receive whatever happens, so the server will make its own guess, see if it wins or if we win or lose, and then that's it. So now if we look in the server, which is the more interesting part, we have our host and our port again. We create a new socket as S, so we bind to the host and the port, then we listen for the client to bind to us. Sorry. Oh, this is a bad setup. Okay. And now it's the important part. So while we're connected to our client, we want the computer to generate a random choice. Then we want our processing loop, which is like our game loop. So player equals whatever we receive from the client. Then we check to see who wins or loses. Then here I made a variable called result. I send it to an empty string initially so that I can add things onto it. So I can just print everything that I want and put it all in a variable and then send it to the client so the client can print it. So results should be the player, so whatever the player had as its guess, computer, whatever the computer has as a guess, and then a line down, so then we can have just that in one line, and then it goes down one, Can you see all this? There. And backslash n, so we can just go down one. If it's a tie, we add, it's a tie to the variable result. If it's a win, add you win. If it's a lose, you add you lose. And then you send the result back to the client. And then the client prints it. So here, I'll show you how it goes. So we are on Rochambeau 3, or Rochambeau DOM client. No, DOM server. No, smart server. Smart server.py. And here, we're on Rochambeau 3, rock, paper, scissors, DOM client.py. And then we need to pick our shape. I'll pick rock. And I pick rock, computer pick paper, we lose. Okay, now we switched it where it's a smart client and DOM server. And then so really in this, we just wanted the server to create its guess, send it back to the client, and the client chooses whether we win or lose. So in this, in our main function again, we already explained this, connect to the host and the port, and then in our game loop, let the player input their guess, we send it to the server, we get the computer's guess back, so we get the whatever the computer's shape is, not guess, I keep saying guess, but I mean shape. Then we set our result equal to 0, we compare all these results, we again add the results, add what we want to the result, and then just print the result. So really it's the exact same thing, but you just add, instead of having all this comparing and seeing who win and lose in the server, you have it in the client. So I'll show you that this works here as well. So we want a DOM server this time. Oh, I should probably start this. And we want a smart client. Please pick your shape, pick rock, and we tied. So yeah, it works. Next is the multi-round game. So in our multi-round game, this one's non-networked. Really, there's very few changes. So in this one, we just made new variables called player wins, computer wins, and matches, and we set them all initially to 0. We made the new function single round like you guys asked, and we made these variables global so they can happen within and outside of functions. Again, we made the computer choose a random choice, and then in our game loop, we chose our choice of shape. We compared them, and now, if we win, or if it's a tie, we add 1 to matches, but then break it. If it's a tie, we add 1 to matches, break it. If we win, we add 1 to player wins and 1 to matches. And if we lose, we add 1 to computer wins and 1 to matches. So this is just making sure we keep track of the amount of wins the player has, the amount of wins the computer has, and the amount of matches we played. So then, once that's our function for a single round. So that's just 1 round. But now we go down here and say, while player wins is less than 3 and computer wins is less than 3, we keep playing a single round until this condition isn't satisfied. So that if one of these equals 3, we know somebody won, and we know we don't have to keep playing rounds. Then we print the amount of matches we played with our variable matches, the amount of wins we've had with player wins. And then we go, if player wins equals 3, you won the match. If it's not, we obviously lost the match. So I'll show you that here. It's just 3.py, I think. So hopefully I win or lose pretty fast here. Rock. I win. Rock. Lose. Rock. It's tie. Rock. I'll show you that paper and scissors works too. Oh my goodness. This game takes a little bit of time here. Okay. We played 9 matches and I won. I had 3 wins. And so it shows I won the match. Hopefully you can see that all right. I think you can. And yeah. Now, we want to network this game with DOM server, sorry. So the way, I didn't even have to show you that. What DOM of me, whatever. And I have to run this. Okay. So if we look at our client now, but it's a smart client. So really not much changes now. All that changes is we want to send whatever we inputted, our shape, to the server. And then the server, we want the server to send its guess back here. Now, when we do that, this all stays the same. Win, lose, tie, matches, all stays the same. All that's different is we change when we send it and we receive it from the computer. So let's run this. You've already seen my dumb client server. 3s client. Okay, please pick rock, paper, scissors. I pick rock. I lose, paper. I win, paper. I win, paper. And I won again. Wow. Okay, so we played 4 matches. I won 3 times. And look at it says I won the match. It's perfect. Okay. Now the difficult part. Now, we wanted to make this server 2-player with 1 player playing from the server and 1 player playing from the client. Now here, I have my diagram that's showing what's happening here. And I hope you can see it pretty well, but I don't know if you can. Let's go like this. Okay, so initially, our client, which is our player 1, generates a choice. And this choice has a message attached to it. So initially, in this choice, I put play as a header, just the letters PLAY, and I sent and then the client, after it adds this header, sends this choice to the server. Now, the server needs to check if the header, so if the first digits of this message is play, then it knows that it wants to continue to play a game, so it's playing around. Now, if it's playing around, it knows that the computer, so player 2, which is actually player 2, wants to generate its own shape. It gets its shape, and then it sends it back. Now, the client now has to determine who wins and loses, and then send whoever wins and loses back to the server so that the server can know this and print this result as well. But this message needs to be different from this message. So this message, I put result on the first part of this message. So it knows that if the first part of the message is result, if the server knows that, it knows to just print this and we don't want to play another round. And yeah, this is my diagram, and I'll show you the code that corresponds to each part of that. So in this, we again have, hope you can see all good. We again have our host, our port, our global variables. We made player choice a new variable just to see, so we can use the whatever player it is. We want a definition so it can just like a cleaner way to put code so we can make our choice. So that's just all that is. And then you can see my code here. So initially, when we create our choice, which is player choice, player message has play attached to whatever our choice is. And then we send that message. And once we send that message, there's an if statement in here. So we have here, if player message has nothing, we break, we disconnect. If there's no message, we disconnect. But if message starts with play, we make player, we delete that play because we don't want to print the play, the words play. And then we want the computer to make its choice because it's know it's having a round. So, yeah, I'm good on time. Okay, so we're good. So we have the player without the play on it. We know we're playing a match or a round. The computer chooses its choice, which is just player 2 is choosing its choice. And then it sends the computer choice back to the server. So when it sends it back to the server, and then it makes sure it knows that we played a match, and it prints that, so it prints the same thing. When we get the computer message, then we just have to do the things we did before. We compare it, whether we win, lose, or tie. And then in this part, if we know we tie, I made the variable now result equals the string result plus it's a tie. So then we want to send that back to the server for it to realize that this is not a new round. This is just the result. So now we're going to print the result so player 2 can see what player 1 is seeing. And this is the same inside you win and the same inside of you lose. And then if the player message starts with result, then player equals the message that's deleting the result, so everything after the result. And then we print what the player is. So if you win, lose, or draw. Now we can look at this again, which is really the same thing. Here though, I made a new variable, so it's like the result. So make sure that I made a new variable that I wanted to send, so that the player 2 can print the same thing as player 1. So it was result. I wanted them to see it, that the server to see that it's result. This first part is the same. We print the number of matches, print the amount of computer wins, and then if player wins equals 3, this is the same thing. Then we know we won, but we know that player 1 won, but we send that the player 2 lost. Again, if player 1 lost, we send to the server that player 2 won. So now I'll show you how it works here. Rochambeau 3 2-player server .py. Can you see all that here? It's playing. Now we go 2-player underscore client .py. Now I choose rock. We go into the other side. I choose scissors here, so I'm going to lose. This person loses, and this person wins. But we want to play again. So let's just do the same thing. So it goes by fast rock. We'll go paper here, actually. And we'll just continue to do this. And we win here, and we lose here. If you can see that. We win here, we lose here. And yeah. So that's my code. Hope everything's all good. Yeah. Thanks for listening.